Hello and welcome to a new episode on Sadhana World Foundation. As you know, we care about crafting young lives. We present them stories drawn from our lessons in history and our folk tales, which are anchored on moral values. We think that these lessons have got tremendous amount of teachings which one can inculcate in one's life and become stronger and a better human being. Haven't we really come across situations where we are in a doubt whether to do this or not to do this? You are walking on the road, you find the road to be quite lonely, there are not many people, you suddenly find a piece of jewelry on the road. What do? You pick it up, you bring it with you, or you leave it on the road. Good friend of yours requests you for some help in the exam when the exam is going on. Do you help with some answers to your friend? You know it is not right to help when an exam is going on, especially if it is a competitive exam and the number of seats for that competition is limited. What do? Do you help? Do you not help? And many such moral dilemmas that we go through. Think of the epic Mahabharata. Some of us consider this to be a piece of history. Maybe thousands of years ago, this war was fought between two clans. And Arjun, that time one of the best warriors of that time, was suddenly in a bit of a crisis of conscience. The conscience of Arjun questioned him whether it is right to fight that war or not, because he knew that that war is going to be a bloody war. There is going to be a lot of bloodshed. There were great warriors on both sides. There were the relatives, grandfathers against grandchildren, teachers against disciples, and so on. All the best warriors of that time were divided into two groups. They were about to fight with each other. The arrows were to fly and lot of blood was to be shed. Arjun, the greatest warrior of that time, is suddenly in doubt whether he should fight this war, whether that war is worth it or not. He was a great warrior. His duty is very clearly known to him that he has to fight. He has to fight for what he believes is right. He needs to be on the side which he thinks is right. Yet he is in a state of indecision. Think of our another great epic, Ramayana. Many situations. Let me give one more example. When the king Dashrath is being asked by his beloved queen to send his most favorite, most talented, most capable son to the jungle for 14 long years, and the crown will go to that queen's son. Dashrath is in a dilemma. But he takes a decision finally. How do these decisions take place? Whether you pick up that piece of jewelry from the road, whether you help your friend in the exam, whether Arjun fights that war, whether Dashrath stays true to the promise that he had made years ago to his beloved wife or not. All these are questions of moral dilemma. How do we decide whether to do this or not? We decide based on something called conscience. We have a moral compass in our head. I came across a beautiful story. I was deeply touched by it. And let me describe that story to you. Once upon a time, there was a wealthy family. The gentleman, who had a sprawling business, observed that his only son doesn't care about the wealth that he is surrounded with. He doesn't value the business, doesn't value the hard work, doesn't value the heritage that he has. So once he decided that he would educate his son by exposing him to abject poverty, and he thought that only when he is able to see wealth versus poverty, richness versus poverty, then his son would be able to appreciate what he has and what others do not have. So he took his son to a village where very poor people live. So he met his son and he himself stayed with him for a couple of nights in one poor family's home, and they just spent the time together. After they came back, he asked his son, "Did you see the life of the poor people in that village?" His son said, "Yes, father, I saw, but I thought that we are poor and they are wealthy." So the father is dismayed, is surprised, is shocked. Father asks, "Okay, why do you say that? They are wealthy and we are poor." Then the son explains that, "See, we have a huge compound wall and we have security guards guarding our palace. But look at those people, they sleep so peacefully, they are not really scared of theft, of any dacoity. They don't think that there is threat to their lives. Their neighbors are supposed to be securing that entire village. All of them are doing it together. We have a pool in the backside of our backyard of our palace, but they have a beautiful river flowing by their village, and they go to that river to take bath. For us to get into the pool, there are so many restrictions. We are living under so much of constraints," and so on and so forth. Naturally, in this kind of a situation, one would imagine that one's perspective about wealth, about money, about poverty is very different from the other person. So we decide, we take decisions in our lives based on the constraints that we develop. Arjuna has fought several wars in his life. He has had a very tough battle with Lord Shiva himself and has defeated him. He has had contests with his father Indra, the god of thunder, and he has had several other very tough challenges, and he has always come out victorious. For a warrior of that standard, that talent, that capability, one is going through a crisis of conscience in his head, and finally he takes help from his guru, mentor, friend Sri Krishna, and through a process of dialogue and discussion, he clarifies the doubt in his mind and clears his conscience. And similarly, Dashrath thinks for a while and takes a decision. And similarly, we as people take a decision who to punish, how much to punish, whether to pick up an ill-gotten wealth, whether to do some act which is not moral. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear young children who are listening to this, we need to understand that conscience is so very important in our lives. The steadfastness, the consistency with which we make decisions in our lives make it either positive or negative for us. The fondness, the respect with which we today remember the characters or the people who have gone away, who are not there today amongst us, depends upon their actions. And those actions were taken based on the conscience that they had. So all of us are taking actions based on the conscience. Are we? That's the question. We need to introspect. We need to think whether we are consistent in our beliefs, in our actions, or we are sometimes making mistakes. How frequently are we making mistakes? Are we willing to accept those mistakes and make amends? I look forward to our future conversations. Thank you very much.